KTTC News.
Minnesota is starting 2024 with new gun laws. Good evening, I'm Brock Burgee. First at 5, a state bill passed back in the spring is now in effect. KTTC's Quinn Gorham explains tonight how it will impact Minnesotans looking to buy or transfer firearms.
Governor Walz wasted no time highlighting new gun control laws in 2024 as he joined public safety officers and bill authors to celebrate their new regulations.
The two new gun laws taking effect deal with universal background checks and extreme risk protection orders. The background checks introduce new regulations on purchasing or transferring firearms. Extreme risk protection orders or red flag laws will create a new reporting system entirely. According to public safety officials, Minnesotans will soon be able to submit a new form to their courts that would result in intervention from law enforcement if an individual is determined to be a danger to themselves or others.
These laws can help de-escalate emergency situations. Any number of people can work to get that person help. That's important. A chief law enforcement officer, a city or county attorney, or the person's family or household members can reach out for help by asking the courts for an extreme risk protection order.
According to bill authors, it'll be considered a gross misdemeanor to falsify information on the reports, which they hope can minimize abuse.
While some law enforcement officers across the state have vocalized critiques for the new law, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety is confident that conversations they've had with law enforcement agencies across the state have proven productive and will result in full cooperation with the new regulations. Reporting in St. Paul, I'm Quinn Gorham.
20 other states and Washington, D.C. have also implemented these red flag laws. We are learning more tonight about a New Year's Day shooting in Blue Earth County. Police say it involved a father and his son. According to the Blue Earth County Sheriff's Office, 30-year-old Andy Douglas shot his father, 59-year-old Jeffrey Douglas. This happened at around 4:15 yesterday at their home in Eagle Lake. That's east of Mankato. At last word, Jeffrey Douglas was said to be in stable but critical condition. Andy Douglas was arrested at the scene and faces a charge of first-degree assault. The shooting remains under investigation. One person is dead after an attack at the state-operated mental health facility in St. Peter. State officials say a patient at Forensic Mental Health Program's North Campus attacked another patient. It happened at around 1 a.m. on Monday. The victim died at the hospital. The alleged killer was arrested without incident. According to the Department of Human Services, the St. Peter facility primarily serves patients who have been civilly committed as mentally ill and dangerous. An internal investigation is underway. Meantime, embattled Harvard President Claudine Gay announced today that she is stepping down in a letter to the Harvard community. Gay was undone in part by her responses at a congressional hearing last month and an ongoing plagiarism scandal. At the House hearing, she was criticized for a lack of direct answer about policies and procedures to combat bullying and harassment of Jewish students. Harvard announced its provost, Alan Garber, will serve as interim president until it finds a new president. At just 6 months, Gay had the shortest presidency of any Harvard president in the university's 338-year history. New tonight at 5, former President Donald Trump is trying to get back onto the ballot for the primary ballot in Maine for the 2024 election. The 45th president and current Republican presidential frontrunner is asking a court in that state to overturn the decision that resulted in his removal. Last week's Maine Secretary of State said that she had a legal obligation to take Trump off the ballot because of his actions during the January 6th siege on the U.S. Capitol. Trump is also dealing with 14th Amendment-related challenges to his ability to run for president in numerous states. That includes Colorado, where the state Supreme Court removed Trump from its primary ballot. The Supreme Court is expected to get involved in this issue, and any ruling from the High Court would be the final say on the matter in all states where Trump's eligibility is in question. Meteorologist Sarah Gannon joining us now live from our weather patio. And here we are, day 2 of a new year. Sarah, what's the weather going to be like?
Well, Brock, I think Mother Nature looking to maybe change her forecasting tune just a little bit. We're looking to see some big changes as we head at least into next week. So this week looking pretty quiet. However, next week could feature some snow chances back in the forecast. I know snow lovers and our chief meteorologist, Nick Jansen, very excited about that snow potential on the horizon. Outside, though, things are fairly quiet as we check in with your Lewis Notto live camera right here from Signal Hill. We are sitting at 32 degrees, a mild evening, a little breeze breezy there with winds out of the west-northwest around about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That does drop our feel like temp down to about 25 degrees, but area-wide those temperatures continuing to stay mild, sitting into the low to mid 30s. Wind chill values for many of us there back into the 20s. So overall, not too bad. A little cloudy though. Cloud cover staying pretty consistent here. We have seen just a couple small breaks in those clouds throughout the day, but otherwise we continue with those cloudy conditions here as we head into tonight and even as we roll into the next couple of days. So we could see the chance for a few flurries here later on this evening. Otherwise, temperatures continuing on that mild trend, expected to stay into the 20s as we roll through the evening and into the overnight hours. But as I mentioned, looking to see some snow chances back on the horizon. And when it comes to our long-term temperature trend, we may also be seeing a change with that as well. We'll break down those details and what you can expect here as we head into the next couple weeks of January. Those details in your First Alert weather coming up. Brock?
Appreciate it, Sarah. Thank you. Dozens of people in one eastern Iowa community are starting the new year by being forced to leave their homes. Friday, people who live in 3 buildings at West Hill Village Apartments in northwest Cedar Rapids were told they have 30 days to evacuate. Now, the notice came from the complex's owners after the city raised concerns about the structural integrity of the buildings. Reporter Molly Swain has the latest.
This one here.
Concerns about the stability of 3 buildings at West Hill Village Apartments, and specifically this crack above her door, are keeping Jennifer Stevens up at night.
Am I going to be okay to sleep? I close my door just a little bit lighter than what I used to.
Jennifer and other residents say they got this notice to vacate, which said engineers want repairs made to ensure the structural integrity of these 3 buildings. The notice Stevens and the other residents got Friday told them they have 30 days to get out.
Our lives are getting turned upside down in a matter of 30 days, right after Christmas, right into a new year.
What is your plan?
I don't have one. There's not really, I was not prepared for this.
Residents said their apartments were inspected frequently in 2023, especially after the partial collapse of an apartment building in Davenport that killed 3 people.
That's when they started coming through more, yes. Like they were more concerned with things. It seemed like, well, that one collapsed. We don't want this to happen to these buildings.
Stevens said during the summer, they were told they should no longer go out on their balconies. A letter from the city said the balconies were in violation of the city's code against dangerous structures.
So that was our first cue. Something was wrong.
But still, the news that came on Friday was a shock.
I don't feel like the property management was upfront about knowing about these structural damages and that it's an unsafe or unfit place to live.
These residents don't want to be in dangerous housing.
I'm definitely nervous. It's me and my daughter that lives here. So I don't want her running and doing a front flip and falling through the floor or anything like that.
But right now, they have days to pack up what they own and find a new place to live.
They should feel compassion towards the 24 of us that are having to become homeless. Don't get me wrong, I get it if it's for safety reasons, which is what it is, but it's like there's no help in saying, hey, let us help you get into something else.
Staying in the Hawkeye State, the Iowa caucuses are just around the corner, coming up on January the 15th, and the race for the GOP nomination is certainly heating up. Now tonight on KTTC.com, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will be answering your voter-submitted questions. Gray Television's Iowa political director Dave Price will sit down one-on-one with DeSantis tonight at 7 p.m. If you want to submit questions for that town hall, we have a link to do so on our website. Log on to KTTC.com tonight at 7 p.m. to watch that live. And a reminder, we are now just 2 weeks away from the 70th annual Eagles Cancer Telethon on KTTC. The money raised funds vital cancer research here in Minnesota. We hope you will join us on January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for cancer research. Still ahead for you tonight here at 5. The start of January means it's the final stretch of the campaign trail in Iowa, as we just said. And up next, help from Fido, how our four-legged friends can help stick to those New Year's resolutions. And more in your First Alert weather forecast. A beautiful shot there as we await some snow cover. Sounds like it might be coming sometime early next week. Those details with Sarah when she joins us next. If your New Year's resolution includes exercising more, eating healthier, or improving your mental health, you might be able to find motivation to stick with your goals from a four-legged friend. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how pets can help you keep healthy resolutions.
It's 2024, and if you're looking to make a healthy change in the new year, a furry friend may be just what you need.
There's a variety of ways that pets can play a role in helping people through the holidays, throughout the year.
Stephanie Filer with Shelter Animals Count says pets can keep you motivated to move, whether it's taking a dog or a cat on a walk outside or playing in the backyard. Staying active can benefit you both. Filer says animals can also boost mental health and allow for social connection, not only to your pet, but others you may meet when you're out.
You can connect with dog owners, you can connect with your neighbors more, and it just really helps reduce isolation, especially for seniors or people that are homebound.
If your resolution is to eat healthier, there are many foods which are good for you and your pet. Just research which fruits, veggies, and proteins are safe.
It can be everything from carrots and green beans and apples, and then, fish and chicken, and even for cats, they enjoy small amounts of salmon and eggs and chicken and turkey and cheese and all kinds of things.
Finally, Filer says saving an animal can help you feel good in the new year.
Whether it's adoption or fostering on a temporary basis, bringing an animal in that is in need of a good home is something that can absolutely give you a sense of pride and increase your mental health as well.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says studies have shown that there are several health benefits to having a pet. That includes decreased blood pressure, lower cholesterol and triglyceride levels, and they can also help with feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. If you live in Iowa, you might want to check your refrigerator freezer. Thousands of pounds of ground beef products have been recalled due to a risk of E. coli. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the nearly 7,000 pounds of ground beef products were produced, that is, by Valley Meats on December 22nd. The packaging has the establishment number of EST 5712 that's printed on the USDA mark of inspection. The affected products were shipped to Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, and Michigan. The USDA says the E. coli contamination was first discovered via routine testing. The agency says they have not received any reports of illnesses, but they do believe the products are still in freezers and refrigerators. Consumers are being urged to either throw away the product or return it to the store.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Sarah Gannon.
So, looking ahead a bit, it looks like winter might finally grace it with her presence, huh?
Yeah, you know what? I think we're kind of on the trend of new year, new weather patterns on the horizon. So still the next few days, things are looking quiet, still consistent with those above average temperatures and overall quiet trend. However, I think we could be seeing some changes as we roll into the next week or two. So hopefully by mid-January, we could be seeing a little bit of some different weather pattern activity happening here in southeast Minnesota, northeast Iowa. Outside right now, things are quiet there as we check in with your Louis Donato live camera in downtown Rochester. Those temperatures staying quite mild still at this hour. Many of us into those low 30s there, 32 in Rochester and Winona, 34 in Austin, Mason City at 33. That cloud cover, though, has been staying with us here throughout today as well. Winds ranging anywhere from around 5 to 10 miles per hour. So that is impacting our wind chill value back into the 20s for many of us. So as we roll ahead here for the rest of the overnight hours, we continue on with some cloudy conditions, and we may even see a few flurries throughout the evening. And as we roll into your Wednesday midweek, looking to see that cloud cover stick with us. So not so much for sunshine. However, we could maybe see a few more flurries on the way, though, for the midday and on and off throughout your Wednesday as well. Snow chances, though, many of us have been wanting that snowfall, and I think we finally have a chance. We could maybe see some snow chances on the way for next week. So outside, things are pretty quiet here as we check in with your future track radar. Just that cloud cover. We did manage just a couple breaks in those clouds throughout today, but otherwise, things pretty quiet in the upper Midwest. We have high pressure building off to our west towards Nebraska and into South Dakota. Cold front to our north. We'll slowly see that drop through as we head towards tomorrow into Thursday, and that'll drop our temperatures by a couple degrees, but not any significant impacts expected as that frontal boundary passes through the region. And in fact, when we look ahead to our temperature trend, some changes on the horizon with that as well. When we look ahead here between January 8th and 12th, all right, some seasonal temperatures just kind of on that cusp there of about that 40% chance of above average temperature. So we'll look to stay pretty seasonally warm here for the next few days. The change, though, looks to arrive as we head towards January 8th and
January 10th and 16th, starting to see maybe a cooler trend. Temperatures look to be about, Climate Prediction Center anticipates temperatures maybe about 40 to 50% chance of being below average. And when we look at our 10-day temperature trend, we start to see those changes. We'll go from those upper 20s and low 30s here through the weekend. And then by next week, looking to see temps take a dip into those lower 20s, maybe even teens as we head towards next Friday. The other thing, though, is going to be that snow pattern. However, through tonight, looking to stay cloudy, a couple flurries there as we roll into your early Wednesday morning. That cloud cover staying pretty consistent. So we continue on with cloudy conditions, with a few flurries there for Wednesday. By Thursday, looking to see some clearing, so we should manage some sunshine there as we head into the daytime hours on Thursday. So the rest of this week, things are looking pretty quiet when it comes to rain, snow, any form of precipitation chances. However, the weekend, maybe a few stray flurry chances possible, but the better opportunity for snow will be Monday and into Tuesday. So it's been a long time since we've seen snowfall here in the area. In fact, the last time we had snowfall was back on December 9th, and that was just 0.2 of an inch. In fact, the last time we had 1 inch of snowfall was back on Halloween, October 31st. We had 1.1 inches of snowfall, and really, that's the only time we've had 1 inch of measurable snowfall in the Rochester area so far this season. So hopefully we can see some changes coming down the pipeline as we head towards next week. Tonight, though, cloudy conditions ahead, a couple flurries possible with temps there into those low to mid 20s. We look to be into the upper 20s, low 30s for tomorrow. Cloudy skies continuing there with a few more flurries possible and some breezy conditions as well. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We look to go from quiet through the end of this week and anticipating maybe some changes there on the horizon when it comes to potential snow chances by early next week, Brock.
Temperatures still, though, not that bad.
Not too bad. So I think that'll be, a nice little
Tolerable.
transition there. But
Yeah.
I think conditions will finally start to feel and maybe look more like winter, I think, as the month of January progresses.
Sounds good, Sarah. Thank you. Let's check in now with Caitlin with a look at what's coming new tonight at 6.
Well, it's the 5th leading cause of death in the U.S. We're talking about stroke. Today there was an event in Rochester to help prevent even more lives lost. We'll tell you about it and how you may find an event like it in the future. Coming up on your news at 6. Brock will be right back.
Right now, how an exchange student in the U.S. became victim of a cyber kidnapping scam orchestrated overseas and how you can protect yourself. Also now paroled from prison, how notorious killer Gypsy Rose is striking new fame online on Nightly News.
Well, we know 2024 is going to be a big year for politics, right? Especially with the presidential election coming up this year. Let's bring in KTTC's Washington correspondent tonight, Brendan Cullerton, who is joining us live from Eagle Pass, Texas. So, Brendan, what are the trends showing in terms of who is leading the pack right now?
Well, Brock, when you look at the general election, it's looking like a dead heat between former President Donald Trump and current President Joe Biden. The recent USA Today poll showing both at 37%. So a tight race, but not really because either candidate is particularly popular right now. Those are pretty low numbers for a general election. But it does show some strong indicators for Donald Trump that he's cutting into some of the key advantages Biden had on him in 2020. We're talking about black voters, Hispanic voters, and young voters, those younger than 35. All of those demographics seem to be leaning more toward President Trump than they were in 2020. It remains unclear if Biden can keep the White House without those demographics he held last election.
And we know that the first real tests for Republican candidates are going to be coming up with the Iowa caucuses, which we are keeping a close eye on here as we cover parts of Iowa, and also the New Hampshire primary, both of which are happening later this month. Brendan, how are the candidates preparing for those specific events?
Well, it's going to be very clear very early if anyone will be able to challenge Donald Trump for that GOP nomination. And it shows because both Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley have agreed to a CNN debate in Iowa on the 10th. Well, Donald Trump is not getting on the debate stage with them. That's a strategy that you often see frontrunners take. He instead holding a town hall that will be held on Fox News. So you're just seeing all these candidates having appearances in Iowa and New Hampshire, but that key strategy by Donald Trump not letting any of them try to cut into his lead by attacking him on the debate stage.
Washington correspondent Brandon Cullerton reporting live for us tonight in Texas. Brandon, thank you so much. A federal appeals court has denied former President Donald Trump's effort to delay a civil defamation trial that is set to begin now in just 2 weeks. Trump had asked the appeals court to delay the case brought by E. Jean Carroll after he lost an earlier attempt by claiming presidential immunity. Now, he said he needed additional time to consider his options, including the possibility of taking the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. But late last week, the appeals court denied that motion without elaborating. The trial is now set to begin on January 16th. Carroll sued Trump for allegedly defaming her while, when serving as president, he denied her allegations of a sexual assault from the 1990s. Last year, a jury awarded Carroll $5 million in damages in a separate defamation lawsuit she brought against the former president. And sticking with the former president, according to a new poll, 46% of Americans say Donald Trump's actions related to January 6th should disqualify him from the presidency. Another 17% say his actions cast doubt on whether he is fit for the job. Meanwhile, 33% said his role in what happened on January 6th is irrelevant to being president again. The Washington Post and University of Maryland survey was taken December 14th through the 18th. That's just before the Colorado Supreme Court ruled Trump is not eligible as a candidate under the 14th Amendment's insurrectionist ban, removing him from that state's primary election ballots. We will be right back.
All right, Brock, we've all heard of baseless lawsuits, but Florida has a faceless lawsuit.
I see what you did there. Okay. Baseless, faceless. Here's the story. Cynthia Kelly filed a class action lawsuit against Hershey last week. She is accusing the chocolate giant of false advertising. Kelly was upset when the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup pumpkin she purchased did not look like the outside of the wrapper. So there's the wrapper and then the actual product below it. What do you think? According to Kelly, Hershey misled consumers with their faceless chocolate pumpkins. She wanted to see a face carved in there.
I mean, that would be cute, but that would, someone would probably have to hand carve that out. I don't know if the machine does that.
Well, an official for Hershey's is telling the Washington Post newspaper that the company cannot comment on pending matters.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It seems a little nitpicky to me. I'm more concerned about how it tastes rather than how it looks. But that's me.
I will say the pumpkins and the Christmas trees and the eggs, those all taste way better than just the regular Reese's cup.
Because you just think so?
Because they are. It's a fact.
Because they are. It's a fact.
We'll do a survey in the newsroom and we'll be able to prove this theory.
You know what, though? Your confidence. That's what I like. You're confident in that. All right. Thank you so much for making us a part of your evening here at 5. We hope you'll be back tonight at 6 with more news and weather coming your way. Have a good night.